Welcome to our 423 Iwork at NCVPS speaker series, and today we have with us CFNC Representative Brittany Privott, and she's going to share some things about the college process. So Ms. Privott, please go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Loudermilk, for having me today. Again, my name is Brittany Privott. I am a regional representative for the College Foundation of North Carolina, and my territory is the southeastern part of North Carolina. So I handle all schools within the 910 area code, and I live in Wilmington. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the college process, and I want to walk you through how CFNC can assist you through that process with the resources that we provide. My background is in college admissions, so this is really one of my favorite things to talk about. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know and I'll be more than happy to expand. So a little bit of background about College Foundation. We are a state-supported nonprofit organization that works with all of these entities you see here on this chart. So we work with the University of North Carolina system, which is all of our public schools in the state of North Carolina. There are 16 public colleges and universities. We work very closely with them. We work with College Foundation, Inc., who employs me. And College Foundation really works on planning, applying, and paying for college in the state of North Carolina. We also work with the North Carolina Community College System, North Carolina Department of Instruction, independent colleges and universities from North Carolina, and the State Education Assistance Authority. I've included my email address and my cell phone number here, so if you all have any questions after this presentation, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to help. So overall, if you look over here on your left, this graphic here kind of tells you exactly what you need to be doing throughout high school to prepare for college. And today I really want to focus on all of our students who are freshmen through juniors. Seniors, a lot of this information will be important to you, but our freshmen through juniors have more time to plan, and so a lot of this information is going to be really important for you all. If you look over to our left, that is a screenshot of what our current website looks like, but we will be changing things up a little bit in the coming months. So be prepared for our website to look a little bit more shiny and bright and new in a couple of months. We're revamping a lot of things to make it a little more user-friendly. But today we're going to focus mainly on the Plan tab. So if you look here, we have Plan, Apply, and Pay. We're really going to focus on that Plan tab today and explore some of the resources we have to offer through there. So overall, the rule of thumb when it comes to applying to college is that colleges are looking for three main things. Number one is definitely going to be academics. Colleges want to make sure that you're academically ready for the coursework in college. Ultimately, college is school, and they want to make sure that you're ready for the next step and that you're going to be successful. And you'll demonstrate that through your grades and test scores. We're going to elaborate on that in a little bit, but I just want to make sure everybody is clear that your academics are going to be the most important part of your college application. We all understand that GPA stands for grade point average, and I like to make sure that students know that individual grades are super important, but your GPA overall gives college admissions officers and admissions committees a better understanding of who you are as an overall student. So I really like to stress to students that if you make 1C in high school, that is not the end of the world, because GPA again stands for grade point average. So if you make a lower grade in a class that you struggle in or in a subject that you don't do as well in, we just want you to balance that out with a higher grade in another class. Overall, if you make an A in a class and a C in a class, that averages out to be a B average. So we want students to get an understanding that we're looking for well-rounded, balanced students. And balancing out your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to the subjects that you're taking in high school is a huge sign of maturity and a sign that you are ready for the next step. If you have a class that you struggle in consistently, for me, it was math in high school. Me and math are not friends. So I had to seek out different resources like tutoring and staying after class in math, where my English and social studies grades typically would balance out my lower math grades. We want to see students who can definitely get a better understanding of where they struggle and know how to reach out for resources. So academics are definitely number one, and knowing when and how to reach out for resources to balance out that GPA is going to be extremely important. Extracurricular activities are also important. We'll go over that in a little bit. And of course, a positive attitude. If you can do all three of these things, you're going to be eligible to attend some college in the state of North Carolina. Somebody's going to want you, and it's going to demonstrate that you're prepared for the next step. Ultimately, when I worked in college admissions, reading applications, when I'm looking at applications, the biggest thing we're looking for is to see that this student is going to thrive on our campus, in the classroom, and outside of the classroom. Is this student going to do well at our institution? So when searching for colleges and filling out these applications, think of it in that way. So the first thing, again, colleges look at are going to be academics, your grades, and your test scores. And CFNC has an awesome tab under that plan tab. If you click for college, you'll be able to see entrance requirements for the schools in North Carolina. This is just an example of the UNC system, but of course the independent schools and community colleges all have their own requirements as well. To be eligible to attend any public school in the state of North Carolina, you must meet the minimum course requirements for undergraduate admission. That's going to include 4 units of English, 2 units of a foreign language, and they have to be a consecutive unit. So Spanish 1, Spanish 2, French 1, French 2, and there are a lot of schools in the state that will accept American Sign Language, but you do have to have 2 consecutive units of a foreign language. You'll also need 4 units of math. One has to be higher than Algebra 2. So classes like discrete math, advanced functions and modeling, statistics, calculus, anything that has Algebra 2 as a prerequisite will count. You'll also need 3 units of science, one being a biological, one being a physical, and the other being a lab science. And then 2 units of social studies, one has to be US history. These are typically the graduation requirements for most North Carolina public high schools, but things have shifted over time, and these are definitely going to be your minimum course requirements for the UNC system, regardless of what the requirements are at your high school. So keep that in mind. On the flip side, there are minimum GPA and SAT requirements that have changed due to COVID-19, but traditionally, the UNC system looked for a 2.5 GPA, and that's weighted. Before COVID-19, they were looking for an 880 on the SAT or a 17 on the ACT. Things have shifted a little bit. Schools are still looking at that 2.5 GPA, but instead of an and for the test scores, they're looking for an or. Those test scores have gotten a little bit higher, so typically schools are looking for around, I believe, a 1010 on the SAT, and I want to say an 18 on the ACT. Don't quote me on that. The UNC system will be coming out with those numbers and publishing them soon. I just wanted to give you a gauge that every school has different requirements, and just because the minimum requirements for the UNC system are around a 2.5 weighted GPA, that doesn't mean every school is going to accept that. These are the minimums, and every school has their own discretion on what they accept. Most schools are going to look well above that GPA requirement, and I typically tell students to worry about your grades when it comes to A's and B's. Overall, the rule of thumb is A's and B's get degrees, and we want you to challenge yourself by taking honors, AP, or career and college promise classes at your local community college, but we want you to take classes that you know you're going to do well in. Again, math was not my strong point, so I took classes in math that I know I was going to do well in, and I really challenged myself in social studies and English. So I took honors and AP classes in those areas to balance out, again, my grades in math. So just keep that in mind. We want well-rounded students who can do the work, and so demonstrate that by taking classes that you know you can do well in and achieving that GPA that shows that you can do well. So again, as academics are definitely number one, and the reason that schools look at grades and test scores is because they tell us 2 different stories about you academically. Your grades show us how disciplined you are. If you're turning in your assignments on time, or you're participating in class, because there are a lot of classes in college that have participation grades that are a bulk of your final grade. We also want to see that you're organized, and typically organized students do well in with their grades. So you have to be much more organized when you get to college because you have a lot more self-guided learning. So we want to see that you are disciplined enough to handle the coursework in college. For test scores, they show us how well you critically think, how well you think in a timed environment, and they also show us how much information you've retained throughout high school. We want to see that because we want to see, again, how well you're going to do at the collegiate level. But please note that some schools are going test optional now and are looking more heavily at grades than test scores. And we also have some free SAT and ACT prep tools on CFNC. If you know you're not the best test taker and you're a freshman or a sophomore, this is a great time to start utilizing these tools and taking those SAT prep classes to get a better understanding of how those tests are administered. They're really unlike any test that you've taken in high school, and knowing how the test is administered may help you do a lot better on the test. So start seeking out these resources. Does anybody have any questions about grades so far, or test scores, or anything in the academic realm when it comes to preparing for college?
Ms. Privott, we had one about sports counting as extracurricular activities, if you want to address it now or wait later.
Sure, we can talk about extracurriculars now. That's perfect. Great segue. When it comes to extracurriculars, one, colleges want to see that you're involved in something for a lot of reasons. One, they want to see what you're involved in to see really kind of what you're interested in, and if that is going to be something that they provide on their campus to show that you're a good fit. For example, being involved in football, and football being your #1 priority, but also applying to University of North Carolina School of the Arts may not be the best fit because they don't have a football team. So it gives you schools a better understanding if you're a good fit for the school, what you're talented at. It also helps us get a better understanding of how well you balance your time. The traditional high school student attends class for about 40 hours a week. And although a lot of our virtual public school students aren't what we would consider a traditional student, once you get to college, you're only in the classroom physically for about 12 to 18 hours a week. So either way, if you're a virtual student or you're a traditional in-class student, once you get to college, the transition is a little bit funky because you're in class for a lot less time. So we want to know that students can balance their time with something positive and productive. And so getting involved in something is going to show that. Sports are a perfect example of an extracurricular activity. If I know a student is a baseball player, I can already assume that they are a great team player, that they know a role and know how to fulfill a role on a team, and they know how to achieve a goal with other people. So getting involved not only shows us what you're talented at, what your interests are, if you're a good fit for a school, if you can balance time, but it also gives us better understanding of who you are as a person and what character traits you possess. Other examples would be something like babysitting. If you are a babysitter, whether you're paid or not, I already know that you're a trustworthy individual, you're responsible, you're patient. Things like that can give a school a better understanding of who you are and increase your chances of being admitted. Another really cool way of getting involved is taking advantage of enrichment programs. It looks great to colleges if you've already been to their campus and participated in a program that they provide high school students. And on CFNC.org, we have a huge list of different enrichment programs for students from elementary all the way up to the college age. And they're based on different college campuses as well. So even if you live where I live in Wilmington, App State may have an awesome enrichment program right in line with what you're looking to do when you get to college. So take advantage of these resources and check out CFNC to see what different colleges are providing right now. Any questions about getting involved?
Hi. Yes, since this a pandemic period, it is limiting people to get back to the summer programs that the college is providing, right? So in this situation, since the opportunities are limited, what kind of programs they can get in?
Awesome question. Right now, volunteers are needed in a lot of different sectors, and community service and volunteering look fantastic no matter where you decide to plan or where you decide to apply for school. So getting plugged in with those volunteer organizations like Nourish NC or any of your food banks, anything like that looks really great. And then also, mentorship programs. So finding a younger student that may have questions or need help with their homework virtually may be a good way to kind of get involved. But finding ways to meet the needs of what's going on right now looks fantastic on any college application.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody have any other questions about getting involved?
Yes.
What's that?
So if so at my school I do concessions. Does that count?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I like to tell students anything that you're doing outside of the classroom that's positive and productive, colleges want to know about it. So, for example, I love Netflix more than the next person, but if Netflix is asking you, are you still watching every day? That's not something we can put on our college application. But if you're doing something like concessions after school for a couple of hours for a game once or twice a week, that's something you can put on your application for sure. Does that help?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Going to church or a religious meeting once a week, that counts. Doing household chores that are above and beyond the normal household chores. So if you mow your yard and your neighbor's yard once a week, just out of the kindness of your heart, put that on your application. Colleges just want to get a better understanding of who you are outside of the classroom. All right, if there's no other questions, does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah, I have one more question. So my daughter is, very much interested in medical programs and stuff like that. So she has applied for many, hospital volunteering, but, it turned out to be upside down nowadays. Like, is there anything that you can provide ideas, for her to be involved in that area?
To be honest, I would see if she could possibly email any hospitals or local doctor's offices to see if there's any volunteering that they need. It never hurts to reach out at this point in time. And even if she's going to grab meals for doctors or anything like that, anything that associates her with the field that she plans on going into will look really great.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great questions today, you guys. Thank you so much for this. All right. So the last thing that colleges are looking for in the big three are going to be having a positive attitude. And the main reason for that is overall, colleges want to see that you can get a letter of recommendation from somebody at your school to attest to who you are in and outside of the classroom. This is going to be a part of your application that kind of supports and backs up everything that you've said about yourself. So having a positive attitude can ensure not only do you get a great letter of recommendation, but it also shows that you're mature enough to handle the freedom and the flexibility that college provides you. This is the way to show that when you get to a college campus, you're going to contribute to their campus community and to the overall culture of their campus. Having a positive attitude helps you stay resilient when it gets tough in college, because there are times where classes get a little more difficult or being away from home can be difficult. Keeping and maintaining a positive attitude will ensure that you're going to be successful in that area. When it comes to college recommendation letters, some schools require them, some schools do not. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. Some schools, if they don't require one, they really don't want one. So if they're not requiring one, but you would like to send one, it's okay to call the admissions office and ask if they will accept a letter of recommendation or if they really just don't want them. Also, for students who may be on the borderline academically, so if a school is looking for a specific GPA and you're kind of on the cusp of that GPA, letters of recommendation are a great way to back it up and a great supplemental item to add to your application to support that you're going to be ready for that next step. I recommend requesting teachers provide you with a letter of recommendation at the beginning of the school year or the summer before, right before you get out of your junior year. Excuse me, some teachers will be happy that you requested it early. Some teachers will say, hey, I'd rather you ask me in the fall. But giving a teacher a heads up your junior year that you're going to be requesting a letter of recommendation and asking them how you would like to formally request it and when is definitely going to be something that's going to help you in the long run, because a lot of teachers get inundated with those requests around college application time, and it takes them a little bit longer to write them around college application time. So the earlier you ask, the better. Just give them a heads up and let them know that you plan on asking for one. Some teachers will be more than happy to write one over the summer for you. Some teachers would rather do it in the fall, but going ahead and engaging with them over the last couple of months of school before you get out as a junior is going to be really, really helpful. Any questions about letters of recommendation? The last point I want to make about letters of recommendation is we prefer that your letter of recommendation come from a core class teacher or a school administrator, like a counselor, assistant principal, or a principal. Somebody who can attest to who you are in and outside the classroom. Now, when it comes to searching for college, we just talked about the three main things that you should start doing to prepare and what colleges are looking for, what qualities colleges are looking for from you. But with over 111 colleges in the state of North Carolina, you should be doing the inverse. You should be looking at what colleges can provide you as well. So what you should be looking for in a college. When researching schools, it is all about fit. So we highly encourage that you utilize the college search tool on CFNC. You also can change the criteria to search nationally, so you can look at schools in and out of state on our site. On here, you can check out our map, our interactive map, or we have a comprehensive list as well. And you can narrow it down by tons of different filters, but there are three main things that every student should look for in a school. Everyone has a personal list of criteria, but these three criteria need to be on everybody's list. So the first one's going to be major. You want to make sure that you are looking for schools that provide the major that you're looking for. So for example, if you're looking at marine biology, Western Carolina may not be the best fit for you. Has nothing to do with Western Carolina being a great school or a not great school. It's just not the best fit for you because they don't provide the major that you're looking for. So narrowing down that list by major is super important. Now, I don't know if you're anything like me, but when I was 17, I had no idea what I wanted to do when I grew up. And if you're in that boat, I would just look at a school that's going to provide you with options and support. So do you have the options to do the major that you plan on pursuing, or the area of study that you're planning on pursuing? I knew that I didn't want to do any science-based majors or anything like that, but I did like the social sciences, and I ended up majoring in sociology, but I didn't make that decision until sophomore year. Most schools will not allow you to declare a major until your sophomore year. So take the time to explore and make sure that you find a school that's going to give you not only options, but support. Ask about their academic advising. Ask if they have academic advising for students who are undecided, and ask about the process for declaring a major, because that is a huge part of the college experience. The second important thing to look at is going to be location, and for a lot of reasons. Is the school close to home? Do you need to be close to home, or do you want to get away a little bit? What about your family structure? What role do you play in your family? And if you go far away from school, how is that going to impact your family structure? Also think about, do you have the means to get to and from that school? Some students want to get away, but some students don't realize the farther you go away from school, the farther you go away from your support system, and the more means you're going to need to get back and forth. So for example, when I was in college, I went to school in North Carolina. We had a young lady on our floor in my residence hall who was from California. She could only go home once a year because her family can only afford a plane ticket, a round trip plane ticket once a year. So she came to each of her friends' house for each holiday. So she did Thanksgiving with my family, she did Christmas with another family, and then during the summer she got to go home. So I would think about distance from home and how that impacts your family. I would also think about things like weather. Do you like the snow? If so, you can take snowboarding and skiing as a PE class at App State. Would you rather live at the beach? You can take surfing as a PE class at UNC Wilmington. Would you rather be in a city? Would you rather be in a rural area? Think about what you'd like to be surrounded by, and does your major impact that? Like the example we gave before with marine biology, you're definitely going to need to be on the coast for that. But there are majors like business where some students may want to be in an urban area where there are more business opportunities. So I would definitely take in consideration the location with regards to distance from home, weather, and what surroundings do you want to be around when it comes to pursuing education. The last point would definitely be size. Especially being a virtual public school student, you may not have as much interaction with your peers when it comes to physical interaction and talking to your peers. But college is a huge game changer for that. The largest school in the state of North Carolina has about 35,000 students. So take in consideration how many people you'd like to be around, how big you'd like your classes to be, and what environment do you learn well in. For myself, I am a very talkative person, and I think when I get nervous, I talk a little bit more. I think that's why I'm talking so fast through this presentation. But I needed to go to a big school so that I felt more comfortable in the classroom. For larger classes, I was able to focus more, and if I needed help, I had no problem asking my professors and kind of advocating for myself. I worked at a very small college in the UNC system, and having class sizes with less than 18 students that gave students not only a name, but I'm sorry? It also gave students the opportunity to engage their professors on a personal level, and gave professors more opportunities to reach out and engage with students, especially if they noticed they were struggling. So the size of the institution can impact your learning. It can also impact opportunities for leadership roles. A lot of times, if you're at a smaller school, you may have more opportunities to be involved in those leadership roles. And then sometimes school spirit is impacted by the size of the institution. So I would definitely take that stuff into consideration when looking at schools. Major, size, and location are the top 3 criteria that you need to look for. So you might have any questions about finding your fit?
If I want to be like a doctor, what would be better for me, a small school or a big school?
Fantastic question. I would say the school that is going to make you the most successful. A lot of times med schools aren't looking at necessarily the school that you went to, but how well you did, how many resources you took advantage of, and how prepared you are for medical school. So I would start searching for schools that are going to give you the support. Do they have what we call pre-professional advising? Pre-med is not a major anymore. It's more of a pre-professional program, meaning you'll major in something like biology or even English, but you'll be a pre-med student. So you'll get a pre-med advisor at most schools that have pre-professional advising to ensure you're on track to get into med school. Some schools don't have that and you're kind of on your own. So I would ask schools about how they prepare students for medical school, and I would definitely make sure that you step foot on campus. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. The campus visit is a huge part in finding your fit. So I highly recommend that you step foot on campus before committing to a college. I love to tell students, go to college fairs, make sure you go to these meetings when colleges come to your school, but there is nothing like stepping foot on a campus. We've all ordered something online before on Amazon or eBay, and getting it in the mail and realizing that is not what you thought it was is the same experience as you may have if you don't step foot on a college campus before you commit. So definitely take tours and ask questions that are specific to you, not what you think colleges are looking to hear. This is an investment. College is not free. So you want to make sure that you try things out and make sure it's a good fit for you before committing and paying all this money to attend. Now, once we find the school that we're looking at, once we are starting to prepare for everything, during that process, I want to make sure that you start to think about what you're good at. And CFNC has tons of different resources, again, for you. And that's going to be under the Plan for a Career tab. We go to college to obtain a degree so that we can pursue a career. So getting to know yourself, finding out your interests, again, what you're good at, can definitely lead you into finding a school that's going to be a great fit for you, or a major that's going to be a good fit for you. Once you do these fun different quizzes and surveys, you'll get results that look kind of like this to show you kind of where your strengths and weaknesses lie and what careers are available in that area or align with what you think you may be doing in the future. And you can also research what colleges have those programs here in the state of North Carolina. I don't want students to forget about our local community colleges. North Carolina has over 50 community colleges, and they are fantastic. We have some of the top ranked community colleges in the nation, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the benefits of attending a community college, whether you'd like to obtain a 2-year degree or if you're thinking about transferring. One thing I like to make sure students know is that you don't have to attend the community college that's in your backyard. If you'd like to move to another city in North Carolina, or if you know you plan on transferring to a 4-year institution, it's okay to move and attend that community college that's in the city that you plan on living in, or that's closest to the 4-year school that you plan on attending. Regardless of where you go, the North Carolina Community College system has what we call a comprehensive articulation agreement with the UNC system. So what happens is if you attend a 2-year college in the state of North Carolina and you take the transfer route, the 4-year schools in the state must accept your credits if you get a C or above in those classes. I do want to make sure that you know that those credits may not transfer the way that you think they do, so it is important to communicate with the 4-year school that you plan on attending or transferring to, but it is really a great way to save money and also prepare yourself academically for a 4-year experience. Some people don't want to leave home right away after high school. It is okay to attend a community college to get those basic courses under your belt. Some students want to obtain a 2-year degree and go right into the workforce. That's perfectly fine as well. But you have a phenomenal resource in our North Carolina Community College system. And they have some really cool majors. For example, Montgomery County Community College has one of the top taxidermy programs in the entire nation. I had no idea you could go to college for taxidermy, but in visiting these schools and talking and engaging with their admissions representatives, I've learned so much about what you can do with a 2-year degree, and the opportunities are endless. My brother is thinking about pursuing a degree in marine technology at Cape Fear Community College, where they have their own ship and go on excursions throughout the year. So there's tons of resources, there's tons of cool programs. Do not forget about our local community college programs. And feel free to ask me any questions if you have any right now about community colleges. We have some students who are juniors or seniors who may not have done their best academically in high school. I want you to know that if you attend a community college and plan to do a transfer route, once you get 1 year of college under your belt, 4-year schools are going to look at that over your high school achievements. So if you want to kind of have a fresh start academically to get to the 4-year school of your dreams, start at a community college, take classes, make sure that you're making good grades there, and that's going to trump your classes in high school along with your test scores. If you want to work around taking a SAT or ACT, going to community college, getting the 1.5 to 2 years under your belt and showing that you can do college coursework is going to trump any high school academics that you may have. Any questions about that? Okay. We're almost done. We're going to switch gears and talk about applications. And for our younger students, our freshmen, our sophomores, even our juniors, you can do a practice application on CFNC just to go through the motions of what a college application looks like. So definitely take advantage of that if you're nervous about the college application process. You can apply to most colleges in North Carolina through CFNC, and you can also send your high school transcript for free. Please make sure that you look at college deadlines your junior year to make sure that you're in line with applying by the deadline of your choice. But I will encourage students to complete their top 3 college applications by Halloween of their senior year. There's only one school I know of in the state of North Carolina that has a deadline before Halloween. Other than that, if you apply by Halloween, you're going to be in a good spot to have early applications in and to receive your admissions decision a little bit earlier and enjoy your spring semester of your senior year. So applying early never hurts. Some colleges do require an essay on their application. It is extremely important to take that essay seriously because the essay is the color of your application. Your grades, your test scores, your extracurriculars, all that stuff is great, but sometimes it doesn't give us the whole picture of who you are. Your essay is there to color in any blanks that college admissions committees may have when reading your application. So when you're looking at applications, please answer the prompt and stick to the prompt. Stay within length requirements. Personalize it and make sure you're writing the essay for the right school. When I worked in admissions, every single year we got at least 5 applications to the wrong school, and those students typically were not admitted to our school because of that. Make sure you tell your story, spell check, proofread, and make sure you read the instructions before completing the essay. Do not just create a list of your accomplishments that is already on your application. Writing an essay about sports is okay unless it does not answer the prompt. So I'll give you an example. One of my favorite essay prompts over the years was name something that's so central to your identity that without it, you wouldn't be who you are. If that's sports, feel free to write about sports. But if the application says, why would you like to attend University of Mount Olive? And you write a whole essay just about the baseball team, that doesn't give college admissions committees insight as to why you're going to do well at their school, which is the ultimate goal of the essay. I would stay away from religion or politics or illegal activity. And of course, your pet is super cute to write about, but again, make sure you're answering that prompt. Outside of the application process, we do encourage you to complete your FAFSA in the month of October and complete your residency determination interview in the month of October. The FAFSA is going to qualify you for federal and state financial aid, and completing your residency determination interview will qualify you for in-state tuition here in the state of North Carolina. You must complete that interview to receive in-state tuition. Over here to the left, you'll see a chart of what you'll need for each form. And again, we really encourage you to do that during the month of October by Halloween. And apply for scholarships throughout your senior year. CFNC under the Pay tab has a comprehensive list of statewide scholarships and grants, so definitely check that out. And I recommend starting to do that process as a junior. Most scholarships won't allow you to apply until you're a senior, but knowing what scholarships are looking for and preparing for that process as a junior will make your senior year that much more fun and less stressful. Does anybody have any questions? That's kind of a quick overview of the college admissions process and the application process, but I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns you may have about this. I also see that I have some colleagues on here as well, so if there's anything you guys want to add, feel free to do so as well.
Mr. Harrison, we will have the archive on our Iwork page, and I'll put that address in the chat in just a minute. Ms. Privott, will you share with them a little bit in October? Do some of the schools have application-free weeks in our state system?
Yes, ma'am. So CFNC actually sponsors what we call Free Application Week during the month of October. And I actually have the date somewhere. And if any of my colleagues know the date, feel free to shout it out because I don't have my calendar right next to me. Let me see if I can find it. But during that week, you can apply to any of the listed schools for free. A lot of schools will actually waive their college application fees throughout the year, so it never hurts to call and ask if they're waiving college application fees. But getting your application in during the month of October is extremely important, so keep that in mind. I do not have those dates on me, but we'll publish those and send those out to counselors as soon as the fall semester starts so students can prepare.
And Brittany, this is Tamika, CFNC. It's actually going to start, I know you were looking for the date. It's going to be starting October 19th.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Tamika. Tamika's our 704-980 rep. So that week, yes, you'll be able to apply to schools for free. Most of our UNC system schools do not participate. That does not mean all of them don't participate. I will say East Carolina participated last year, but again, I would recommend calling schools and seeing if they're waiving fees. If you qualify for free or reduced lunch, you automatically can apply to 4 schools for free through the College Board. So just keep that in mind as well.
I also believe students can also get waivers for some of their ACT and SAT. Also, do they usually find that information in their guidance office?
Yes, they'll need to go to their counselor, and that's thank you. That was exactly what I'm talking about. If students have a waiver through the SAT or ACT, typically that will qualify them to apply to 4 colleges for free. So definitely talk to your high school counselor about if you qualify for those waivers.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so my family, my dad, he's in the military and we're moving around a lot.
Mhm.
And we just like moved to North Carolina. So if because I think we're gonna move back to Florida. I don't know when though. So applying to colleges, is there because some people told me, like the administrations at our school told me that I couldn't apply to somewhere in North Carolina if I'm moving back to Florida, but if he's in the military, does that make a difference?
It does. And that's something that gets a little murky with military dependents. It really just depends on where your dad's official domicile is. So where does he specifically live? If you're a senior and you're still in North Carolina and this is your home, that may qualify you. But that's where that RDS, that Residency Determination Service, is going to come into play. You can always give them a call and they can let you know exactly what information they'll need to prove that you're a North Carolina resident. But it does get a little murky with military families just because, of course, like you said, you guys move around a lot, and it really just depends on what state you officially call home.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions?
Well, it looks like we have no more questions. Thank you, Ms. Privott, for this great information. And for those of you that need this archive, it will be on the ncvps.org. Iwork NCVPS/2 website. And if you just go to the ncvps.org, you will find Iwork speaker series under the student links. So does anyone else have any other questions before we wrap up? Well, it looks like there's no more questions. So thank you, Ms. Privott. Thank you, Tamika, and all the others for coming today. And if you have any questions, you have this information and we'd love to help you. So thank you for a great series and we appreciate you all coming today. Bye.
Thank you. I hope everybody stays safe and healthy out there. Thank you so much for coming today.
Guys, be sure to check out our iWorks page that Ms. Loudermilk shared with you just a moment ago. We have another session with CFNC on next Thursday about virtual college tours, and that's one I'm extremely excited about personally.
Thank you, Ms. Poulin.